I'm gonna be Wilson again. It's like, Heidi ho, neighborino. Make this one with a pair of underwear I have, and then there's a Hello Kitty poking her head out of one of them. It's super silly and super adorable at the same time. Oh, the cat has taken over my spot. Oh, hey, Gabby. Yeah. Hi, honey. Well, hey there, everybody. It happens to be a beautiful... Hold on. There we go. There we go. Good afternoon, good evening, and not good night yet. Yeah, happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I hope everybody is doing fantastic today. I'm doing better. I feel like I'm always complaining about something, so, me saying I'm doing better doesn't really feel like it's very much, because, stress is stress, right? But who in this life isn't stressed, so. Tazzy! Hey, Tazzy! Thank you so much. 13 months. I can't believe that long. Like, holy moly, girl. Thank you so much, Tazzy. I appreciate you. Hey, Purple. How are you, my dear? Do you guys have your drinks? I made tea. I'm all ready to go. It's tea tonight, not coffee. I'm all out of coffee. I only cried a little bit. It's not a big deal. I'll get more when I go to the store. I just haven't had time to go out. But because I'm having tea, I could put some honey in it and then just a little bit of honey whiskey. You know, that American turkey? It's pretty good. Tea is good. Tea is very good. Tazzy, you're in the UK, like my friend Adele. Are you a big tea person? Like, are you it's tea time kind of person? Turn that down just a wee bit. Are you a tea person? Yes. So is tea time like afternoon, like an afternoon thing? Because I feel like it is, and I feel like I've read that it is, but like I'm not like a diehard into the tea culture thing. But I'm a tea enthusiast, right? So that's kind of my curiosity. I'll be completely honest with you. Tea is good anytime. That's true. That's true. But like British tea, Poppy, are you guys? Everyone has their own idea on tea time. Okay, all right. So I'm not too out of the loop on that one then. Cause like I've made tea time as like a brunch thing, and I forget what I made. I used to actually get an English tea time magazine back when my oldest was like 3, and I made what is it? What is that cake called? It's a checkered cake. It's like a button cake or something, and then it was wrapped with marzipan, and you do like this fancy like crisscross thing on the top where you just gently press your knife in just to give it the crease. Yeah, I made one of those, and like the cake, in order to hold the checker together, you put jelly filling in between each, and it's like pink and yellow. Yeah, I made one of those. It was a pain in the butt, but I really enjoyed it. Marzipan, not so much. Normally, often we would have a fly cup. A fly cup, that's interesting, around 9:30 to 10, and between 1:30 to about 3, and then about 5 to 7. I like that. I like that a lot. And then you guys call cookies biscuits, right? You don't call them cookies, they're biscuits. That's my understanding. Well, so the reason why I'm asking is because I love tea times, and I love tea, and I actually have a pattern that we're going to be releasing in a couple months. I actually was sitting down before stream, kind of nailing down my schedule of when we're launching the next 3 patterns or so. So yeah. So I'm kind of excited because it's a very whimsical kind of tea. I'm pumped. I'm pumped, guys. I hope you guys are pumped too for when that comes out. But I should get straight into it. We have another wonderful interview tonight. We happen to have the lovely, the fantastic Megan from So Simply Meg. Welcome, Megan. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi.
Hi. You're tired, aren't you?
I'm tired.
You are tired. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so bad because, like, you and Stitch, this is, like, really late time for you.
No, I'm really glad to be here, though.
Yeah, and you're no stranger to the stream. We did it was a shorter stream, but we did do like a get together back at H&H Chicago, right?
Yeah. That was my first time ever, though, and it was actually, I think I'm more nervous for this one than I was for that one.
Really?
Yeah. I think, I don't know, that one, I don't know why, but like I felt like that one, I had no idea what I was getting into, so I couldn't be nervous for it because I had no idea what I was doing. This one, I feel like there's been so much that's already happened. I'm a little more nervous for this one because I'm following in some pretty big footsteps. So there were a lot of people that came before me.
Yeah, but we're all friends, so it's not big footsteps. They're footsteps that are walking side by side, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you don't give yourself enough credit.
Well, I know, but like these guys did some great things, so I don't know what I'm going to talk about for 2 hours.
Holy crap! They did some great things. Are you guys looking? Who? Okay, all right. We're not asking questions tonight. I'm asking the questions. This is not Jody's interview. This is my interview. But holy crap, guys! Look at the block. You guys in the chat. You guys can see the block. It is like, I look at your block, Meg, and it's just, it sparkles. What's that?
I hope I didn't scare people with it.
I don't think so. I think it was like the perfect time to introduce it because it's like middle, a little past the middle part, right?
Yeah.
So like, and you went right after Stitch, who did the half rectangle triangles, which was perfect timing. I don't think anybody really thought about how they should go together.
Yeah.
That's lots of questions, Meg.
Yeah.
Jody says, ask lots of questions. She's yelling at me. Stitch Max, which happens to be Stitch, she says your block is fabulous. So you have tons of friends in the channel who are cheering you on, my dear. Like, how in the I'm getting right into it. Oh, and Oshemi agrees, and he's not even a quilter. So like, for fuck's sake, if you got him on board. Of course, like, Oshemi loves you guys. He's afraid of TJ. So he won't cross TJ. I love that. But I'm gonna get right damn into it. Where in the hell did you pull this block out of? Like, this came out of left field for me. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so this one is actually okay. So I have to kind of give some explanation for this a little bit too, because the whole Sprout theme, it's there. I have to tell you, the Sprout theme is there. So this is actually a tulip. Did you not see? Do you not see the tulip? This is a tulip.
I did not see the tulip.
You don't see the tulip. So this is actually based on Frank Lloyd Wright made a window design in one of his buildings that was a tulip window. And this block is inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright's tulip.
Holy fuck, Meg!
Yeah.
You're like
so this
big
tulip
brain. Oh my god. I feel so stupid.
And it was in the Lake Geneva hotel that he built.
I was gonna ask why in the heck it was called Geneva. Like,
Geneva,
that's a...
Yeah, so it's from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Yeah. Which actually the building is long gone. It was actually... So he built it in like 1910 or something. So it was like 100 years ago that he built it. And the building's long gone. So like you can't even go look at the windows anymore. So... but you can Google them.
Were they able to preserve the windows?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody has some somewhere.
Right.
But there's pictures of them online. You can go Google them. I have them actually. I have screenshots of them because that's how I did this. I pulled screenshots and just put it into Illustrator and
traced it out.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So that's how I designed it.
So big brain. And that kind of ties into the fact of where you as a quilter, because we were talking a little bit about niche with Jody on Monday. And for you, where's your niche? You're kind of I think, if I remember correctly, and I'm a goldfish brain, so I probably am getting this wrong, but you're mid-century modern. That's kind of where you're pulling from?
Yeah, it's architecture. So I would say mid-century modern is so I would go even further to architecture. So mid-century modern architecture, because it's really looking at buildings, how the structure of buildings or components of buildings. So that's really what I've used. So this one was the windows in the building.
Yeah.
And I have another one that I call lustron. And if you know anything about that, lustron is a type of building. I haven't released this one yet, by the way. So
sneak peeks, guys. I'm so excited.
Lustron is actually a design of building that was built so it was actually built for the GIs coming home from war. And it was a style of building that they could slap together. And it was these panels that they could slap together. And frankly, when you look at a lustron building, they look to me like quilt blocks. So hey, I can make a quilt out of that. So that was to me, I'm hey, idea. So so that's what I'm working on. And I have another one that is actually called Falling Water. Hopefully nobody has a problem with it. It doesn't look anything like the building Falling Water, but I just stole the name from it. Because
that's another Wright house, right?
It is the Frank Lloyd Wright house.
And
correct.
That's in Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Which is where you're from. No.
I lived there for a little while, and I'm from California.
Oh, you're from California. All right. Yeah. That's right. But yeah, Falling Water is in Pennsylvania. And the concept for the quilts actually, it just reminded me of the building Falling Water. It doesn't really look like Falling Water. I have another quilt pattern that I'm working on that's a lot more complex, that has kind of that Falling Water look to it that I haven't come up with a name for yet. So I'm working on that. That's a lot more complex though, and I don't know what I'm going to do about that one because it's probably not going to be a beginner friendly. So back to the whole niche.
Yeah.
that's really kind of also part of my niche, is that I like them to be beginner friendly, which is where this particular block, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I make this beginner friendly? And then when the idea of, because this one actually didn't start out beginner friendly.
I mean, it doesn't look beginner friendly, if I'm going to be frank with you.
Yeah. And it's got a lot of little pieces in it. So, but it's beginner friendly in that I hope I wrote the pattern in a way that a beginner can follow the instructions and make it very easily.
I mean, from what I was reading in your instructions, because I have your pattern right here. It looks really thought out, and I love the diagrams you use for your half rectangle triangles and your half squares, and you have a really great piecing layout and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's really well put together.
And that's what, my idea is that anybody should be able to make it. Like, nothing is too complex. And honestly, all of it is just following the directions and putting the pieces together. Like, it's not like it's complicated. So it is small pieces, which I think some people get afraid of. And I will say, like, it starts to get a little wonky, but in the end,
It
it's
all
not.
works out.
It all works out. It'll all quilt out. It'll all quilt out. That's how I feel about it. So,
as a person who also deals with a lot of tiny pieces in her patterns and worries that people are gonna be freaking out, I can totally relate. But honestly, out of all the blocks, yours is the largest when assembled, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
a
I think
16
it's
by
16.
16. It's
It
like,
is 16 and a half total. Yeah.
boom, right
Yeah, it's a
there.
big one. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah. So, and actually, I kind of, it, like I said, it didn't start out as that block when I first conceptualized it. It actually is a completely different block, and the quilt that I'm going to make out of this will look very different because it'll be completely different. So I am going to make a quilt pattern
Okay.
but it'll look completely different.
Okay.
So.
I wasn't sure where you were, because I was thinking when I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, what it would be great as like if you blew up that block and made it a quilt in and of itself.
I think it would. You could actually take that and just make it big.
Yeah, you could.
You could make it one big quilt.
And it would be perfect.
It would. So that's a great idea, actually.
I have those every once in a while.
That is a really good idea. And that might make, because a couple of people have reached out to me about some of the pieces. And I'm like, no, actually, it is that. Because they were a little worried that some of the pieces that I put in there were wrong. I'm like, no, it really is that. So, like, because they thought I had the wrong measurements. I'm like, no, it's really small. Believe me. Sorry. It's that small. So, but I think that would help because I do think some people were a little nervous about the
I can
size.
imagine. But I mean, at this point, they should be kind of warmed up to it, right? Because we didn't throw this in week 1. Like, we didn't scare people away. We kind of, like, have been leading. And that's what I love about this challenge, the Sprout Quilt Challenge, is that we really have had something for everybody. And the amount of people that I have had reach out privately, like, first of all, has been fabulous. Like, I'm not used to that often. Right? And people are like emailing me through my website and all that, like just how much they love this challenge and how much they love these blocks and how great this all is and all that. And it's just like the response has just been fantastic.
Yeah. So, yeah. And that's where I hope people aren't scared off by this one. So,
I don't think they will be. I think they're here for the long haul, honey. I think at this point we're past the halfway mark. Like, if they've gotten this far, they're gonna make this block, and they're gonna be happy that they did, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, and it's got it literally has every fabric in it.
I know, and your chart is like all fat 8s, and I'm like, oh, this is easy. Well, I've been saving scraps through the whole thing.
And you could use scraps.
That's what I'm doing.
Use scraps.
You should post a reel about that. You should post a reel and say, hey, don't be afraid to use your scraps from all the other blocks. That's kind of, I mean, I've been saving baggies of all of my scraps. Because,
And
like,
that's what
I don't like
I
throwing them
made.
away.
I made a couple more of those blocks,
Yeah.
just making reels and stuff for it, and I was literally going through my box of scraps to
Yeah.
make these because I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to have to cut into my big pieces to make a couple more blocks.
Right,
So
exactly.
scraps to see what I had that I could use to make a couple more
You
blocks.
should, those extra blocks, you should make pillows.
I'm going to.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. Because
Yeah.
they'd be
Yeah.
so fun to have, like, the full quilt and have those on, like pillows in
Yes,
front of it.
extras.
It'd be
Yes,
so
Rose.
pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have to admit, I'm probably not going to make the full quilt.
Oh, that's okay.
I know. I just, I mentioned the FDJ. Like, it's just really, my life right now. I just don't have time. So yeah.
Yeah, and don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't really been keeping up on top of everything, and I feel guilty in and of itself. Like, I
Yeah.
finished last week's blocks on Monday, I think, and it's like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm not gonna feel guilty about this, and it's just like if we were telling our sprouts, like, you do you at your pace, right?
Yeah.
Because
Well, and that's it. I may finish it, but it's probably not going to be for a couple of months
and that's
because
fine.
I'm not going to have time right now.
Well,
So
and you've got other projects too, right? Because you've got new patterns that you're working on, and H&H is coming up, and I'm pretty sure you're coming back.
I am. So I am. And that's the thing. Like, I'd like to have, I have my list on the wall over here. And
Mm-hmm.
by each, I have 3 patterns I'd like to have released
I'm so
by
excited.
each. So like, I want to have those out by H&H.
Yeah.
And I want to have patterns. I want to have physical patterns in my hand at H&H
I hope you
printed.
bring extras for us to buy from you, because, like,
Well, yeah, I want to at least, I mean, I don't know if I mean, that's my goal. Yeah, I want to be able to say, like, these are available.
yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, that'll be my goal is to have them with me for people to buy.
I'm excited. I'm
That's
really
my goal.
excited. So
Yeah.
that was something actually I did. I have my list right here of because I totally didn't have a panic attack the other day about everything that I have to do, and everybody keeps saying, "Well, have you made a list? Are you making a to-do list? Did you write everything down?" And I'm like, I mean, I did somewhere, and I have a new God, what is it? A daily planner that is
Yeah.
made for business
Yes, your
crafters, right?
fancy
And
new planner.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing the 3 to dos, right? I don't know how I feel about the planner yet. Like, I feel like there's not enough room for it to be my end all be all planner, right? It's only
Yeah.
enough for my business planner, and that's
Okay.
fine. But, like, I have a lot of other stuff with the kids and everything. I kind of need, like, I'm gonna have to get a second planner at this point, or a big
Yeah, that's
calendar,
hard to do. Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
half of my time is spent writing things down and, like, trying to keep on top of all that. Like, holy hell! But, like,
Yeah.
I wrote my list too, and, like,
Yeah. You're gonna make it.
I mean, it'll be
Fair
all
enough.
right.
It
I'll
was
make
nice.
do. It's just
Yeah.
gonna be a lot, right? And just kind of sitting
Oh.
down and actually looking at everything, because I totally am not launching 3 patterns before H&H, and one of them's a Big Daddy pattern. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's crazy. How are you getting 3? You're getting 3 patterns out by H&H too. That's a lot.
Well, see, I'm cheating though.
Crazy.
I'm cheating because one of them you guys already know about, that was at market, that the distributor has, but I didn't do a public launch. So I have that in my back corner that I'm launching in February. So, like, which is perfect coming right off of Sprouts, right? Like, we're going to hit the ground running.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So technically I'm going to have 4 launched because the butterfly is a quilt in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There you go. Yeah.
What are we doing to ourselves, Megan? This is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's hope it's worth it. That's the thing. It's got to
How
be
do you
worth it.
quantify though? I think that's a good question for me to ask you. How do you, somebody who is passionate about this, coming into the industry as a new quilter to begin with, and you're a pattern designer too, and you're working a day job, how do you,
Yeah.
what makes this worth it to you? Where is that quantifiable line for you?
Well, right now it's here. Like there's I had a very hard talk with myself the other day that um the monetary gains aren't going to be there for a while. I
Mm-mm.
recognize that. Like I'm not going to see the money for a while. But am I getting the self satisfaction out of it? Like, am I enjoying it? And even so, my husband said to me, he's like, "You seem very stressed lately." He actually said, "You seem stressed since you've been doing this quilting thing." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. The reason is because my fucking day job has me stressed because I can't quilt." But that's okay. I
Well,
mean, that's okay, but that pays the bills, so I have to do
next
that.
time he says that, point out that, honey, I'm working a full time job and I'm running a business. I am building
Yeah.
an empire. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's the mind frame I'm coming in at, right? Because it
Yeah.
is hard. Like, I know mentally,
Yeah.
logically, I know that
Yeah.
I'm not going to be profitable for X amount of years. I've had that hard talk with myself and with
Yeah.
Oshemi, and like we're okay with that, right? He's aware of that, which is really great to have him on board. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it is so hard because like I was sitting here, I think I had it somewhere. I was writing down my launch goals, right? Because somebody somewhere, I forget who said it. I don't even know where I wrote it. But they said that you need to have goals to know whether or not it was a success, right? Even if it, yeah.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so I was writing down my goal, right? And then I was writing what would be my break even point, right?
Right.
And I was sitting down and I thought I had all my numbers written. And I had done this with pedal dance as well, right? And
Yeah.
pedal dance I launched back in October, and that was a big project, a lot of hand sewing, a lot of that. And
Yeah.
so I was sitting down and I was going over it with Oshemi, and he's like, "You know you spent longer than that, right? And you know that you're going to be making reels
Yeah.
to market this, right? And you're
Yeah.
going to have to remake a whole nother one because you didn't record anything when you were originally making it. So you're looking at double the time that you spent the first time. So you got to calculate that many hours into it on top of, and like literally the amount that I thought was my break even like cost of like how to produce doubled. I'm like, well, fuck. And then I have to break it down. Then I have to break it down as, okay, how many PDFs do I have to sell? How many
Yeah.
wholesale would I have to sell? How
Yeah.
many distributor price would I have to sell? And it goes from like, all right, I got to sell about 30 to 36 of PDF or print to break even, right? To I have to sell 95 at a distributor price to break even. Yeah. And that's not including if I sell more of those patterns, I have to buy more print and more inserts and more bags.
Right. Right. Right.
So, like, right now, it's not about the monetary gain, right? It's nice to keep track of that stuff.
Right.
So I have those numbers because, like, at
Right.
the end of the day,
You
I like
have
the
to.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to keep track of all of that. But
Well, because
it's
we're legitimate
fill your
businesses.
soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's part of it is most of it right now is fill your soul.
Yeah.
You know, like, what is feeding your soul? And that's what I'm doing, and you know, kind of break even. I haven't break even isn't even in the picture yet
No.
for me, but someday, hopefully soon, that will be in the picture. But it's feeding my soul.
Well, and I agree wholeheartedly because I'm doing what I want, what I love. At the end of the day, they say if you don't want to burn out, do what you love. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you. You don't know what it's like to run a business. And, like, we're making businesses to run, not jobs for us. Like, we're not making jobs for us to do. We're making businesses
Yeah.
for us to run. Right? So
Right.
it's like that mentality. But it's like, I'm still going to burn out because we're never going to feel, well, at least for me, I'm never going to feel like I'm doing enough. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. A part of it, like, I love making the quilts, but and I love designing the quilts.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like the marketing side of it, but then I do to a degree enjoy it. I just don't like the what okay, this is the part I don't like. I don't like the watching the numbers. Did I get the likes? Did I get the follows? Did I get
Mm-hmm.
like did I get the email opens? Did I get the I don't like that. I don't
No.
like that. I don't like doing that.
No.
I hate that.
It's
That's
rough. Well,
yeah.
and not only do I have to deal with that in our emails and our social media and everything, because it can be rough, like looking at Instagram, for example, because it'll tell you how many people you've reached, right, in the
Right.
last 30 days or whatever. And during Pedal Dance, for example, I hit 20,000 reach. Like, that's
Wow.
nuts.
Yeah.
Right? But I was given like a big giveaway, right? I was doing
Yeah.
a big thing. And
You
I
were,
sure as
yeah.
heck didn't make my money back on that, but that's okay. Like, at the end of the day, that's not why I did what I did. But like, with streaming, on top of that, one of the things that smart people tell you to do when you're streaming is turn off the counter. Love you, honey. Mwah. Little one, she's not so little anymore. She's getting so big. Um,
Yeah.
Um, but they tell you to turn off your view counter so you can't see how many people are in your channel, right? Because especially when you're just starting out, it can be really rough just seeing that one,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
to me, that's kind of deceiving at the same time because your energy needs to change and shift as when you get a big influx, right? It's like, okay, what did I just do? What are we doing? All right, let's keep that energy up. Let's keep going, right?
You want to know what's working, what's not working, how people are responding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and same thing with chat, right? Like when chat stops, like
Right.
then I know that I'm not doing something right because chat is now disengaged, which is okay.
Right.
But like at the same time, because you're battling your own insecurities.
Right. Right. So yeah, it's hard. And like I go like radio silent on Instagram for a while because I just am like I just don't want to see it. I don't want to look. I don't want to do it. I'm tired of it. Ugh. And then
Have you planned and like scheduled things out so that way you don't have to look if you don't want to?
no, I can't figure out how to do. I don't, and that's the other thing. I just like I know there are ways to do this. I just can't figure out how to do it. Like Instagram in and of itself, I'm like I can't. It won't let me schedule. And I know there are tools that I can use to do scheduling on. And I'm like I don't have time to learn these other things.
But
Like
that's why
okay,
you have us. That's why you have your
I
friends.
know, I
Like
know, and I should
seriously,
turn.
one day you should reach out and be like, "Hey, show me how to do this."
I should, but I'm not even thinking that far ahead right now because honestly, and like for Sprout, I'm focused on Sprout.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I've got to get through Sprout, and then like so, and I have my list on the wall, and I know what I'm doing in March. So I'm like I'm looking to March right now.
Yeah.
So about what's happening in March. So that's where I have fabric ordered, and it's supposed to be here. I'm like, where is my fabric? Because I've got to get this quilt made into my long armor like by the
Now.
first
Yeah.
February. I'm like, where's my fabric? I'm like, I ordered it and it's not here, and
Do you have
I
a
have to.
tracking number?
No, it hasn't even been shipped yet. Like it hasn't arrived. I pre-ordered it, so it hasn't even arrived at the fabric shop yet. I'm like, okay, where is
Do you
this?
have a backup? Do you have a backup fabric line that you could use?
I I don't. I
You
could.
might have to go local, like shop local, and do a Plan B quilt, right?
Yeah, I might have to because it's my cover fabric, and I'm gonna have to figure out a different fabric to use for my cover quilt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a fabric that, and honestly, I thought about going to, it's a Ruby Star, and I thought about just going to Ruby Star and seeing if they would send me some. And
What do you need?
water,
I don't have that one.
so
I
I
have
don't know if,
fat quarter bundles of
and
the
that's, I
new
need a,
Starry, and I have the
I
new
have
from
that.
Kim Knight.
Yeah, the thing is, this one, it works perfect with the fat quarter bundle, and the water is perfect for it.
Yeah.
But it has to be all the same color family, and it has to grade well. So that's the thing. Like, it has to be the same color family, and it has to grade well. And I'm like, so I've looked at other lines, and I'm like, oh, I just can't find one that works well. And I'm like, but other people have trouble making it in other lines. If I can't find another line that it works well
Uh
in, so
huh.
think about this. And
Um.
I've made it actually in a couple others
Oh,
just out of my stash,
so
but
there you
they're
go.
but it's just random fabrics.
What's
So
wrong
I
with
couldn't,
that?
but they're old. Like, they can't even go buy them anymore.
So,
They couldn't use them on a cover quilt. I'm like,
one of the things you got to remember is that if you're using don't get me wrong, it's really nice to have fabric before it comes out or whatever, and have a theme, but it dates your pattern, right?
yeah,
Some of my patterns, like Bees and Peonies, is my bestseller, and it's not made with just a single fabric line,
yeah,
right? I've pulled from everywhere. They're old, and
yeah.
honestly, sometimes that's better because it pushes the person to go. And I had somebody reach
Just get
out.
scrappy. And that's what
Yeah,
this one, I have it made in two other things from they're just like scrappy from my stash, because I had to just make it to make sure it was going to work, and it works great. And they're just totally scrappy from my
you might
stash.
be in trouble because we've got a couple people in the chat. So first of all, Purple, who is Lori, she says she can teach you to schedule and do all that stuff. Second of
Oh, okay.
all, Albie, which is Amanda, she says fabric is behind because of the issues in the Suez Canal. And
Oh,
Stitch has always got her thumb on the pulse of what's
yeah,
happening, right? She
yeah.
says water is due to ship to stores in February.
So I was told it was in January. So that's why I'm
Oh.
like, where is it? Like,
Yeah,
it should be.
you're gonna be waiting, so you might want. I mean, if you've
Maybe
already
I
got it
should just
made
go
in two other ways, if you have one that you really love, why not go with that one for your cover? And
I
then you
guess I
can
could.
make it again when water comes out, and
Water
have that
comes.
as social media.
I could.
Yeah,
I
because
could
people
go with,
love seeing how things are created.
yeah, I could. And that's the one I want to release in March. So, and it's all done. Like, it's written, it's tech edited, it's ready to go. And clearly it's been tested. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
still have a window depending on. The problem is depending on when water gets in February. If it's in early February, then you'd probably still have
I,
time to squeak it out. But, like, you don't want to
yeah.
be waiting around because that's just going to make you anxious.
Yeah. Yeah. All my images are in water. I'd have to change all my images. Yeah.
Yeah. But at least the actual writing is done, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just a
yeah.
matter of swapping
That's the hardest.
images. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the hardest part. So,
Yeah. Hey, chat, before I forget, if you have questions for Meg, feel free to ask in the channel. We are more than happy to grill our friend with all of the hard questions and make her, like, stay awake for the next 2 hours because she is very tired.
yeah, and my tea.
Yeah, my tea's getting cold, though, which is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Mm-hmm. We were having a good conversation. One of my regular viewers, Tazzy, she's out in Scotland as well, and I
Mm,
was asking her about tea time because she's a big tea drinker, and I know
mm,
Adele's mentioned like tea is getting on and stuff like that. So,
mhm.
Gingerberry asks what your favorite technique so far is.
Oh gosh. Well, so like I said, I haven't made all the blocks. and it's going to take me a hot minute to get to them. I did the so I did this, which was
Oh yeah,
it up a little bit.
the English
The
paper piecing.
and I did it. I did the machine. And if I hold it up here, I did the
You did
machine
it Susan's
thing.
way. Oh, I like
Yes,
it. I like it better
yes,
than zigzag.
yeah. So I actually, though, I kind of want to go try just regular EPP.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have done FPP a couple of times,
Yeah.
actually several times, and I do like FPP. I haven't tried Jody's block yet, um, but I probably will make hers because I do like FPP. I've made
Yeah, and
FPP.
hers is really easy. Really easy FPP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I probably will make Jody's. Because I
That'll be
do
a
like
pretty pillow too if you're not making the full quilt.
right, right. So I can do that one very easily. So I think, and so that one I probably will make, and and I have printed every single one of the patterns.
Yeah.
That's released so far. I followed all of the workflows and downloaded all of them.
Look at
Just
you. It's so good.
how to do them, and yeah, so I've opened up all the emails, followed the workflows, downloaded all the patterns. So yeah,
Oh,
so I'm
good. So you're
following.
seeing all the mistakes that happen in the emails that I'm screwing up with.
Oh, there hasn't been a single one.
Oh, bullshit! Bullshit! I know 3 right off the top of my head that I screwed up.
I have not encountered. You fixed them before they got to me.
No,
because
I haven't touched them. Because once it's scheduled and out, I don't see it until I open it in my own email to see how it plays out. Like, because I want to see.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I'm
yeah,
like, oh shit, I
not a
left the wrong
problem.
date. Oh shit, it says week 1 here when it should say week 3.
Oh, I
Oh
don't
shit, it
read
says
it.
"ger" instead of "her." Like, god damn it. I need tech editing
Really, I
just
don't
for my
read.
damn emails, man. I'm gonna be like, I'm surprised nobody's roasted me. Like, we do not have any grammar police apparently in the Sprouts. Thank you,
Oh, that's
Jesus,
so
I'm safe.
funny. I didn't even read them.
It's been bad. I'm sure that people like
I
Amanda
was so
and
excited
Adele
just
have
to
seen
click
it, and
the
they're like, man, who let Sandrasa do this shit? Like, she's probably the worst person to be writing these things. Like, I won't be doing it again, that's for sure. Stitch says that if you can cancel your pre-order, water pre-cuts is available on Etsy.
What?
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
Who? Probably from those crazy people at
From Spree?
Houston. Yeah,
Yeah.
that rushed the table.
That's why you do it. You make your
Yeah,
money. I just like being able to fondle fabric early.
yeah.
I'm not aggressive though. If it wasn't for Jody, I wouldn't have gotten shit. Yeah, no, it's seriously, I could not bring myself to elbow or shove anybody out of the way to get to the Ruby Star.
I
Because that's
got
all
up
I
there. I
wanted.
forgot to do things, and then I handed them off to other people.
Right? I couldn't help it. I'm like, but you know what? I actually met a couple people just walking around and just talking a little bit that actually are like my friends now. So it all worked out. It's okay. So
Yeah, that was crazy madness, though.
it is. I don't think I'll do it again.
Those people were horrible. There were some really terrible people at that thing, and it was just at that table. Like the rest of that group at Spree were nice, but it was just around that table. Like I was surprised how mean those people were.
Oh man, I've heard some horror stories about when Free Spirit used to do it and the Tulip Pink table. Like that was the one that everyone bum rushed first. And it was like literal football season. Gingerberry says she wouldn't have gotten anything without Allison and Leslie. And then Albie says, I saw and I won't be tempted again. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't have been so bad if it hadn't been like the 2 hours of like standing there. Like, it was nice being able to talk and network a little bit, but like, damn, my feet, they were very upset.
It felt like a lot more than 2 hours. Was it only 2 hours?
We had only been standing there for 2 hours. The people at the very front had been there for 3.
It felt like it was all day. Like, why did it feel like it was more than 2 hours?
We could have networked over drinks. You're not wrong. But we wouldn't have networked with the people standing in the spree line because they were standing in the spree line.
This is true.
Yeah. I mean, everything happens for a reason and the way it should, so I'm not worried about it. And I like having experiences, even if it's just once.
Yeah. No, that was definitely, it was an experience. I'm glad I went to it. I'm not sure I'll do it again.
Stitch says she would do it all again.
I believe it.
I believe it. Yeah. Stitch seems so, proper and, ladylike, sure but at the same time, she feels like, don't fuck with Stitch. Man, don't fuck with Stitch. She'll get you. In the nicest way possible, in the, oh, bless your heart way. You know what I mean? You know it's coming.
She is from the South.
She is. She is.
Yeah.
We love you, Stitch. Don't be mad at me.
I don't think she has a bad time anywhere. I think she just enjoys herself anywhere she goes. So, I think that's just part of her.
I'm glad she exudes that confidence.
Yes. Yeah. She enjoys herself wherever she goes. So
she was my roommate for Houston. So I had a thoroughly good time. Especially every time she would break out the little hot hands. Because she slept with the hot hands. It would keep, so it was cute. It was adorable. Honestly, she's around the same age as my mom. And my mom and my grandma were from, well, my grandma's gone, but they're very from the South. So, Stitch reminds me of that, right? It just feels like I'm talking to family. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Yes. She's great. So, yeah.
I mean, the whole fucking group's great. Are you kidding me? I love it.
I agree 1,000%. This is a fantastic group of people. I am so glad. And I've said it before. I will say it again. I wouldn't still be doing this if it wasn't for this group of people.
I think all of us would be in very different situations, and I think that is a testament to having a group of friends that is more than just a network, right? Yes. And we're more than, because sure, it'd be great to have just regular friends to talk about regular things, and we do talk about regular things all the time. But at the same respect, we trust each other enough to confide in each other about really serious kind of business thoughts that we're having or issues we're having with certain companies or emails or whatever, right? And it's a pure confidence and we elevate each other, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is wonderful to have a group like this. And I can't even just say like this because it's not, because there are, and I don't know. I guess I'll just say this. So, the CIA mastermind groups.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled with that. It's not.
Sorry.
It just is so much better than that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you can't really measure it tit for tat, right?
Well, I mean, it's only been a few weeks, honestly. So it's not like we've really had an opportunity to get to know each other.
Right.
And we've been together for years now.
Yeah, over 2 years. And to be honest, everything changed a lot when we moved over to Discord. Because we were kind of awkward and kind of just getting, oh, that's great, oh, that's nice, when we were taking the course, right?
Yeah.
But when we moved over to Discord and really started getting to know each other and really started, you know what I mean? That allowed a lot of sharing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When we were sharing a lot more and more frequently, more regularly, that
it's only been a year? I thought it's been 2 years now. That's what TJ said the other night, that it'd been 2 years. Purple peony poppies.
Well, for us, it's only been a year. That's right. The other group had been 2 years. So we've only been a year and a half. It
feels longer than that.
But the other group, I think, has been longer.
What other group?
Well, so TJ had the other group longer. No?
We both were the same time.
Really? Oh.
We were just 2 different groups at the same course. and then we merged at the
And
end.
then she brought us all together. Oh, I thought she was another group.
She took it a year before us, but then she
Oh,
mentored our year.
oh.
September 2022 is when we started.
Okay.
Really. 2023 doesn't feel like it was a year. It feels like it was like a 5-year span, honest. Like, so much has changed. Yeah. Oh, Stitch reminds me, it's called aggressive encouragement.
Yeah.
I am coining that term. Yeah.
Yes, trademark TM.
Yeah. TM coming soon.
All right, so I have a question for
Oh,
you.
fuck, no.
I
Okay, what do you
think
got?
the first one, I think I kind of know the answer to this one because I think you've told us this in the past.
Uh-oh.
So a little bit about this, but it kind of leads into my second question. So how did you get started quilting? So, and I know you've told us a little bit about this before, so tell me a little more about how you got started in quilting.
Tell you again. We need
Yeah.
shirts for H&H, says Amanda. I think we'll have to like figure out who's all going to H&H. And then I've got a print on demand thing, so I can definitely get all of our sizes, and we can have the same shirt. We'll have to make it purple though, because if we don't have it in purple, then Stitch won't wear it.
I know. I'm fine with wearing purple. Purple a lot. I'm wearing purple tonight.
I love purple.
Yeah.
You really want me to answer questions, huh?
Yeah. I just have like 3 or 4 here.
Hey, Oshemi, if you're around, will you check to see what Stream Elements just timed out? They timed out Stitch. There were 10 messages deleted, so it deleted all of Stitch's message. It like purged Stitch from the chat. I don't know what happened. So if you could check into that, dear. Well, my Steam Elements is a mod bot that too many. Oh, she that's stupid. That's stupid. Is there any way we can fix that, Chica? Thank you for I'm sorry, Stitch, you got sent to purgatory. My bot thought you were spam. Yeah, because you'll have people who will jump into chats and they'll just spam, or they'll send links and stuff. I don't allow links in my chat because there'll be some inappropriate or things like that.
Yeah.
Sheikah is a better mod. I don't know how to do that. Oh, Shemi! Come on, man. You're supposed to be the good mod. All right, I'm sorry. I keep digressing and, like, shying away. You should be in bed. Stitch, we love you here. We appreciate you here. You and Meg are in the same boat. She's exhausted and just keeps drinking her tea. But, all right, I'll stop getting digressed and actually answer your question. So I have talked a little bit about it before, so there's a couple different facets, right? It's not just like a one and done kind of thing, because like the thing I usually tell people is how I came upon quilting for myself, right? And that was because I was in last year of college. I was already like playing around with fabric a little bit because I was doing woodworking and ceramics as a dual concentration for fine arts, which are both crafty arts, right? And it is so funny to me how like arts kind of like want to divide themselves. Like, oh, you're a craft-based art. You're not a fine art like we are. It's like, no, fuck off. We're all art. Shut up.
Yeah.
But I was already, with a lot of my work, like one of my best pieces for woodworking was this chair and ottoman set that I had done. I was doing a lot of sculptural pieces that were carved, and it kind of was very Seussian. Like, it was, like, very Dr. Seuss, and then the headpiece and the chair and the armrest and the ottoman part, they were upholstered with this very floofy black material, so it looked like a puffball kind of thing. So I was already kind of working with fabric and textures and things like that, and what I was doing a lot of crocheting in my spare time for amigurumis and things like that, and, you know, and then my mom introduced me to Tula Pink on a Sewing with Nancy episode, right? And it was just like, everything clicked. Seeing, like, modern material and where it was going was like, oh, man, I love this. So then we did, the first quilt I ever made. I went back, because I was taking a printing class. I took a block and I carved this hibiscus into it. And I did a rainbow ink, and I block printed fabric squares.
Oh my gosh.
And then my mom, I wasn't like putting things together myself. She sewed the sashing on. Like I made the fabric and she sewed it
Yeah.
together. And that was kind of
Yeah.
a lot of like the technical stuff when I first started out. Like my second quilt was an art quilt. Like I drew this punk fairy, and I just figured out how to do heat and bond, and I made her, and yeah, she was fantastic, and I still have her somewhere. She was kind of like the size that I work on now, just a little bit bigger. And then I remember my mom did a really thin sashing to kind of break it up and make it a little more asymmetrical in the background. But everything else I did, right? And there wasn't really any quilting or anything, just a little bit of tracing and stuff. So yeah, but like that's how I started quilting. But like when I look back at everything, like fabric has been in my life for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like my mom made quilts for play quilts and bed quilts, and she made clothes for all of us, or for my two sisters and I, like most of our elementary school, right? Because it was more economical. But then, like, even then, like, I didn't realize when I was a kid, but my grandma, when my mom was a kid, she was a seamstress for like 20 plus years. And then, like, back when they lived in the South and my mom was a little girl, um, one of her favorite memories was going to her grandmother's house. And it's deep South and they were poor as dirt, right? They lived in a little wooden shack kind of house. And my grandma picked cotton and stuff when she was a kid. But my mom remembers walking into her grandmother's house and them pulling down a quilt rack off from the ceiling.
Oh yeah, you
And
talked about that the other
all the
day.
ladies were sitting there and they all quilt together.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that the other day. That is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So fabric in general has been like involved in my family for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of manifesting now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you talked about that punk rock art quilt.
Yeah.
Or the punk fairy. So what inspired? That's my second question. What inspires your designs? Like, where do you get your inspiration for your art quilts?
Well, a lot of my art quilts are just drawings. Like I still do a lot of pen and paper and pencil drawings and stuff for a lot of my, like that's how I'll work out how a layout is or how the drawing is. And I do a lot more editing with computers. Is so much easier now than having to redraw it 100 times like I used to. But I always loved to draw. And one of my earliest inspirations was Amy Brown. I don't know if you know who that is, but she was really big in the late 90s for her fairies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 And I love her. I have one of her art books from when I was a kid. And a lot of my drawings were, kind of that reminiscent style. I didn't watercolor or anything like that, but I would do color pencil and I would do drawings like that. And I was really big into fairies, like huge into fairies. So it just kind of was one of those natural things where, yeah, of course the first damn thing I draw is like a punk fairy with wings, and like she's got like like a mesh armband, and like she's wearing like kick-ass boots and like a corset and like
yeah. Yeah. So so you're a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
So do you get inspiration from gaming? And what games do you play? Like what?
So that's, I think Jody and I kind of touched a little bit onto this, but like for stream quilts, I lean more into when I'm working for things like purely on stream into those nerdy inspirations, right? At the same time, I still create things that are like my own things. Like, I haven't finished it yet, but I made a Pi Day quilt, which was just a big pie. It was like a pie sign, but along the border, like, it was kind of reminiscent of like a medieval sign, and it had the pie, and the pie crust had the pie symbol on it, and then the border around it was the pie number 3.14, and it just kept going around and around, and then it was like pie whatever established, and it had like the date that pie was discovered and stuff, like, so I'll do nerdy stuff like that, but like for this year, for example, we are doing a stream quilt that is going to be Pokemon inspired, and it's based off of a Pokemon called Eevee, which is a fox type, right? And
I know all about Pokemon.
yeah, I've been a Pokemon nerd since Red and Blue, right? But I decided this year, because I've been thinking about this design for a couple years now. I decided that I'm gonna make a bed quilt out of it, and I'm gonna do I one of the streams, like, I spent the whole stream saying, so I should make a template for it then, huh? And we did end up making the template, and I believe the radius is 54 inches. Because we're making a king-size quilt, and I think we're doing turn under applique for the whole thing, since it's going to be a bed quilt. Yeah, so I'm designing the whole thing, and it's going to be my own, like, drawings and such, but it's Eevee, so I couldn't... The thing about, like, doing quilts based off of gaming and nerding, you have to be very careful because of copyright, right? Yeah. Unless I'm willing to try, at least, to get it, like, officially licensed, which is possible. There's no way. Some of my earliest art quilts were WoW based. Like, I would make World of Warcraft quilts, and and that kind of stuff. So I've made nerdy quilts and that kind of stuff for a while, but it's always been like that dual personality that I feel like I have sometimes, because like I love doing the Mimi stuff, and like I'm wearing my pineapple Love is Love design that I made. I made this as a quilt on stream, and it's like my favorite thing ever, because like people just over pineapple on pizza, so I like lean into the meme hard because I love pineapple on pizza. Like, fuck off, people. Tomatoes a fruit too. Don't tell me fruit doesn't belong on pizza. But yeah, so
yeah. But could you make it abstract enough that, well, I suppose...
So people can get away with it for, like, for example, Wizard of Oz, right? Like, I've seen Wizard of Oz quilts, but they just call it something different. Yeah. And, you know, like the Yellow Road quilt or something like that. Yeah. So, but you have to be careful about that kind of stuff. Especially Disney. I won't touch Disney for official IPs.
Right. Oh, because,
yeah. Like, I know technically Steamboat Willie is now an open, you know, copyright kind of shit. Like, it's an open thing, but like... No. I'd rather make my own designs, and like I have Mimi stuff that I'm planning on designing eventually for like another sub-series of quilts. But right now I feel like I like making the pretty stuff too. Like, it's not like I'm denying one part of myself. You know, everybody knows that I'm a nerd. Everybody knows I'm a gamer. You know what I mean? Yeah. And as far as like your second part of the question, and then after this, we're going back to asking questions on you, because I don't like this at all. I'm a cozy gamer nowadays. A cozy gamer, survival based gamer too. I don't know if you know what any of that means, but
enlighten me, because I'm not sure I do, because like my kids are gamers, my husband's a gamer even. I'm an observer. I like to watch. Is that weird?
No, what do you think Twitch is? All Twitch is people watching gaming.
So
right, that's the majority of people on Twitch. And honestly, every time, because like I had somebody who was like, "Why would you sit and watch gaming?" I'm like, "Well, why do you sit and watch football?" Like, I love football too. I'm a big football nut. But like, at the same time, do you realize how big of an industry gaming is? It is the biggest entertainment industry. It's bigger than movies. Yeah. Like, that's how much money people spend on games. And most games are like $60. And the rigs you gotta have, like my computer, like people spend $5,000 to $12,000 on a computer to run games. And that's not even touching consoles and shit. Right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
so
my kids have like water cooled things that like like they have these
I
huge.
am all RGB. It is beautiful, and I've got coolant, and yeah, no,
Ah,
I'm official game
yeah,
nerd over here. Yeah.
yeah. My son, he moved. He moved from one apartment to the other, and like we were his like I had to put pillows in the back seat of my car for his monitors to go
Uh
on. Like
huh.
we
I have
packed like
4 monitors. I've got a 4K monitor sitting in front of me right now.
yeah, like
Like,
his monitors were his babies. Like
uh
they
huh.
like specially packed in boxes, and I had to have blankets and pillows for him. I'm like, oh my gosh. So okay, sure,
What kind of
whatever.
games do your kids and your husband play?
Well, so my husband's a big World of Warcraft guy. He actually
Nice.
very much right now.
All right, here's
Um,
the big question. Here's the big question. This is how I'm going to know whether I like your husband or not. Alliance or Horde?
Horde, Horde
Yes!
all the way.
Yes! Thank you. Thank you. I love your husband
Yes,
now. Okay. All right.
yes,
That's an
Horde.
important question.
We used to have a big, huge poster at the top of our stairs that was, I don't remember what it said because we moved out of that house, but it was something about the Horde. But yes, he
Probably
was big.
something like Loktar Gar. Yeah.
Yeah, it had a big guy, it was a big Horde guy on it. I'm like, okay, whatever. So,
Some of
but
my
yeah,
first commission quilts were all World of Warcraft. I did a
yeah.
Hearthstone board, and I've got a Murky quilt that I did for a wedding gift. I made 2 of those so I could have one. Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. So, and I mean, he's still. So my kids play on his account still. They play with each other. So they'll like. It's the weirdest thing. Like they can meet up and play together, and I'm like, how
Yep.
are you doing
The
that? My daughter was
internet.
like, yeah. I'm like, how are you doing this? Okay, whatever. But yeah. So,
My
but
daughter is 11, and we built her first gaming rig. And she
no,
has her own computer over in the corner, and she's got RGBs and the coolant and all that kind of stuff. She's got the best computer of any elementary school kid in the damn county. It needs a new
yes,
GPU. That's true. It was made all the for, yeah, made from all recycled parts from all of our other rigs. But still,
yes.
like, and we've started gaming together and playing games together. Yeah.
Well, and our kids kind of grew up with like my daughter had a computer in her bedroom when she was in kindergarten. So like our kids grew up with computers.
Yeah.
I grew up with a computer. Like I had a computer when I was in I'm pretty old. But I had a computer when I was in high school. So, which is saying something. So like I've had a computer for a long time. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so like we've always been pretty nerdy people. But like I was never a gamer though. Although I remember playing Oregon Trail on
Yep,
this
that counts. You
computer,
know they
two big
re-released. They
two big
made a
floppy
new.
disks.
I'm gonna send you a link after stream. I don't know if you know they kind of made a new Oregon Trail based off of
Really?
that. Yeah, it is a fantastic game.
It
It's
was the
not the old.
funnest
It's
game.
not the old graphics, but it's really good. It's like 8-bit
Okay.
style, but it's really you're gonna love it.
I
I
should
think
go
you'd
play
love it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but anyway. Okay. But yeah, so I just kind of and so before we even got the computer, I just have to say, so I was going to ask you about D&D because I've
yeah.
heard you talk about D&D because we used to, my mom and my dad never appreciated this, but my mom and I, just the two of us, would play D&D, and we would take days
You're
and
a
days.
D&D nerd. Why am I
Yeah,
just finding out about this?
I
I
I don't
feel
know.
lied and betrayed.
I know. But we would take, I mean, weeks and weeks and weeks to set up our game on the dining room table. And we would have like our books and our everything sitting, and like we couldn't have dinner at the dining room table.
I am so.
It was there, and that was our game. I mean, I was young. I was like 10. So
I am tearing right now. You don't know how happy I am right now, and just like
so, but yes, this was decades and decades and decades ago.
it hasn't
But
changed that much. It
it really
hasn't.
hasn't. Yeah, my mom and I actually went into a game store not too long ago, and they had all the D&D stuff in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Mom, look, we could play again. My mom turns 80 in April. She's like, I don't even remember. Like, it hasn't changed. So, but anyway.
Like,
so
my heart is bursting in me. That makes me so happy.
I really haven't played since I was probably in high school. So, but my son has, my husband used to play too when he was in high school. My son has all my husband's old D&D stuff. I don't even know where my stuff is. So
Aww.
It probably is gone. My mom probably sold it or gave it away to somebody.
You might be surprised. She might have it somewhere.
She probably, actually, you're probably not wrong. She probably does have it somewhere. So I should ask her.
You should. That's special.
Yeah.
Especially because it sounds, because you had miniatures. Like, for me and my group,
did.
Yeah, we play solely online, so we don't have any miniatures, which I'm sad about, but at the same time, like, Oshemi is a big board game nerd, and we kickstarted the Monster Hunter Rise board game, and that came in, I think, last year, and it has full, like, all the miniatures of not only, like, your little hunters and the little palicos, but then to scale to your hunters monsters, and that you can paint them all, and they're all blank. Yeah, and they're sitting there because I can't bring myself to buy a set of really nice paints. Yeah. And I've had several people who are big into painting, like, hey, buddy, can I come over and paint your miniatures? Like,
yeah. Ours were we never painted ours. They were the little pewter, whatever.
Yeah. You know, you can actually...
Probably lead. God.
Okay, so here's a suggestion for you, as, like, a birthday gift for your mom, if you ever think about it. And, Shami, you'll have to remind me of the site, but there's a website where you can go and you can create your minifig. And you can make it all to color. Hero Forge. So you could go and make your mom's character and your character all in color and give that to her as a gift.
Color. Oh, I could do that. Yes, from D&D. Yeah, I could do that. I'll make a note of that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wrote that down. So, yeah.
It's just an idea. It's just a thought. You know what I mean?
Yes. As a memory of when we used to play.
Yeah. It just be like a special little thing, right? It's those kind of memories that you hold on to.
Yes. So, yeah. That's cool. Anyway. All right. So those were my questions for you.
They were good questions.
One more thing. Mention this. All right, I got to reach up for this because you mentioned that, and he's a little dusty. And I have a whole set of these. You mentioned the Amigurumi, and this is another thing.
Oh, you got the ninja. I have that book.
I made the whole book. Yeah.
See, I haven't made any from the book. Here, hold on. This is my favorite.
I never finished the Cthulhu. That's the only one I never finished.
Oh my gosh, the Cthulhu. I love that one. I actually started making the zombie, but I never finished. So this is one I designed myself. He's an Onigiri Amigurumi, and isn't he so fucking sassy? Yeah, he's so sassy.
That's adorable. I've seen that in some of your things.
Yeah, because he sits over on my cutting table. I have another one that's just like a regular face, but the sassy one is always, like, stuck with me. He's like little Mr. Sassy Seaweed Pants, right?
Yes, he's adorable. Well, and I got those because my son did a project and I made him probably, well, God, my son's 24 now, and he was probably 12, so that was probably 12 years ago I made those. He did a project on, because there's like the Roman soldier in that book, and that's why I got the book, and I had to make the Roman soldier that was in that book, and I'm like, oh, I'll just make the rest of these too. So I made all of them.
I can't believe it's been that long, because now I remember, my daughter was, like, just born when I got that book.
Yeah, so that's when I made them. So, yeah. But, yeah, anyway, so.
Purple says she's old, she has no clue what you guys are talking about except for D&D. I mean, to be fair, it's like a whole subculture, right? Like, because nerd culture is pop culture nowadays, right? It's not the same as it was in the 70s or 80s, right? Um,
Yeah.
but
Close.
yeah, like there's a whole subculture, and D&D is huge. Like Critical
It
Role, for
is.
example, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like to me, D&D became like when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, and I did D&D I was doing it with my mom. Like my friends didn't do it.
Yeah.
I did it with my mom, and like my friends had nothing to do with it. And then I got like, I'm not doing this anymore because my friends don't do this. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then I met my husband in college and he was nerdy again. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is okay again. So like there was
You
a period
denied the whole nerdiness of yourself,
I
the
know,
nerdy
I
core.
kind of went away from it for a long time. I mean, like high school and college, I didn't have much to do with it. But then I met my husband and he was nerdy again. So I got nerdy again. But yeah, so, but D&D wasn't really part of our, like, then it really wasn't around much. Like we didn't do that sort of stuff. That was
Oh,
in the
I
80s.
played D&D. The first time I played D&D was in college.
Oh, really?
I lived on the art floor, and I was introduced to
Yeah.
D&D, both D&D and like a tabletop
But when were
RPG
you
called
in college?
Awaken. I graduated in 2011, but I started
See?
college in
That was much later.
2005. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was much later. So
Yeah.
like yeah, so like in the late 80s, 90s, it wasn't
Well, it
much of a
still wasn't cool back when I was in college, right?
yeah.
The art floor was above the criminal justice floor, and we would play. I think it was like a Tuesday night or something. We'd start at like 7 o'clock, and we'd go till like 3, 5 o'clock in the morning. And the criminal
Yeah.
justice floor below us hated us because they would just hear the dice because it's a college dorm,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but then I didn't after when it wasn't even after college, but like when I stopped living in the dorms and I had to start commuting and working 2 jobs and all that shit, like I didn't play D&D anymore. And I
Yeah.
didn't really get back into D&D until I met my partner, right?
Yeah.
Cuz like I didn't have friends who did that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I had WoW friends and we would do raids and stuff like that. Like I was really big into raiding.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, but like D&D wasn't on my radar, and it still can be hard for a lot of people because you want to play, but finding a dungeon master to host it is like the most challenging part because nobody really wants to do it. It's a lot of time and energy, especially to run a homebrew. Like Oshemi's been running our homebrew for 5 years now, and that's all his. I'm running it right now for the month because he's doing a big programming test for Crestron and all that stuff for work, so he kind of needs the break. So I kind of was like, all right, I know this world pretty well. We've talked about the lore, and I'm a lore nut. Don't get me started on WoW lore. Like, your husband and I could probably have a very deep
you
conversation.
You guys could probably have a long conversation.
Yeah, about, like, Hyjal and the First
all
War and all that kind of shit, and the breaking of Teldrassil. Yeah, no, let's not go down that road. Yeah, no, when I say I was a WoW nerd, I was a deep WoW nerd. Okay.
Yeah, he is too. So yeah,
I know we're scaring all of our people who are listening, who are here for the fabric. Like, what the fuck are these people talking about? I came for sewing and quilting, and they're talking about weird things. Like, what the hell?
But see, these are things I've known for a lot longer than I've known quilting. So
right. Well, and that's what I love, and that's the whole thing is like being here on Twitch can kind of be like this weird double like sword in a way because like quilting people don't understand like what Twitch is for the most part, and we're introducing. It's just like with COVID and Zoom and all this other stuff, right? You can learn it, you can get introduced to it as long as you're exposed enough times, right? We can drag you into this new thing, and it's not so scary, right?
Right.
But it's the same thing with a lot of my nerdy friends who I'm getting the chant of fabric, please, and like people rioting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But like at the same time, I have a lot of gaming friends and streamer friends and nerdy friends who are like, "What are you doing? Why are you quilting? Like, can we just go play a video game? Can we just? It's D&D time. Why are you talking about business stuff? Like Come on. We gotta get going.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We can get back to fabric.
Fuck
Sorry.
that. I was having fun. But I think, honestly, I'm so happy that you shared that with me because I don't know why I didn't know that before.
Well, I mean, it would have never come up in casual conversation, you know?
I don't
Like,
understand why.
I,
I'm very, like,
I don't know. I mean, it's just not something. So I don't talk about things. I just don't talk. I don't talk. I don't talk. That's why. Because I just don't talk generally. So, but that's why we're doing this
we're
Twitch.
trying to get to know you and the community is trying to get to know you. And I'm very happy to know that I have another quilty gamey nerd
Yeah.
as a
I
friend.
mean, I'm not that gamey, but I
No,
am a
but
little.
you know what you are because you
I'm a little
watch and you know.
I do
Like
watch.
these
Yeah. I
aren't
mean,
foreign strange concepts to you. So like
yes.
when I
Yeah.
designed my D&D quilt, you knew what a D20 was and the
I
significance
do.
of a
I
20.
do. I do. I do.
There you
Yes.
go.
I do. Yes. And I'm very interested in your wow quilts. Like, do you have pictures of those?
Yeah, I do have some pictures. I know in the intro I have one that goes across. That one is I call it Murky Love because that's the one I
Oh.
made for my two. They were our tank and our healer from my raiding group. They got married,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
made that for them. I'm trying to see between my laptop and my desktop. I can never remember what's where anymore. But yeah.
Are they your IG feed? Because I would love to show my husband some.
Uh, that's a good question. I will have to get back to you when I'm not feeling like my brain
That's
is
fine.
like, yeah.
That's fine.
But I definitely do have pictures of that. Of like a Hearthstone quilt that I did with glow in the dark fabric. So the
Oh,
bottom
that-
is the table board, and it's Ogremore. It's the Ogremore board. So you have
yes.
so you have the hut and the centerpiece where the chief would sit, and then
Yeah.
all of that in like little card slots because I was my ex-husband was really big into Hearthstone because he couldn't play regular video games but he could do that
Yeah.
one, right? And
Okay.
I was decent at Hearthstone, but
Okay.
but then I made a like the Hearthstone symbol out of a glow in the dark material that would glow that Hearthstone blue, right?
Whoa.
And they had that in their entryway. And
That's
yeah,
cool.
so it was something like home is where the Hearthstone is.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
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 See, and those are the things that are kind of neat. Like, that's why I wondered if you take any of your inspiration from gaming.
Oh yeah,
That
well,
was
and like that one was a
that is where my
commission,
question was coming
right?
from.
And that commission
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed doing, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the dual sword also of doing commission quilts. I did that for a
Yeah.
while. Purple says now if you talk Pac-Man or Donkey Kong, she would know. But like
Yeah, well, those aren't games.
they are too. They are too. Did you know?
Well, I mean,
Did here's a factoid to you for you. I don't know if you know. Did you know the first video game designers were women?
oh, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
all the early video games were designed by women. Like
really?
the one that goes ding dong, I believe that one was. And the thing of it was as soon as it started becoming hugely popular and hugely profitable, those women were pushed out of the industry and taken over.
Well, that I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I will say, so okay, Donkey Kong and the likes, those were games that I played when I skipped school in high school. So that's what I did in high school when
See,
I skipped.
I had an NES and a Super NES, and so it was
Yeah, we didn't
my
have
mom's the one who
console.
taught me how to play video games. Like she was the one who sat on the bed with me as we would play Super Mario and all that other stuff. And then,
Yeah.
you know, I played Yoshi's Island and Donkey Kong Country and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my
Yeah.
generation. And then went into Spyro with the PlayStation and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I played those like in an arcade because when I skipped school, I had to go to an arcade, because I'm old school. We didn't have consoles that we had at home. we had to like go someplace. Because I'm old, so.
We were poor, so it was the 90s, and I had a gaming system from 85. So,
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah.
Well.
They had game systems back then. They were expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the one that went like this.
Yeah, exactly. The old
We did
Atari
have
and
one.
shit.
It just was Atari. Yeah, the Atari. Yes, that's what we
Amanda
had.
says her cousins had a rich dad and they had the NES.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, only the rich kids had a Sega when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
We see
Yes.
how that went, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so like with commission quilting, when somebody would ask for something like the Hearthstone quilt, I was excited about it and I would do it really quickly and stuff, right? And get it out. But then I would get commissions from people, one that I kind of did because they knew my mom and my mom asked me was a group in Ohio. It was a Dear Jane Society. And they needed a new quilt for their banner because Jane Austen quilted back in the day. And so they wanted a new quilt, and I guess their other one had gotten stolen or something like that and just walked off. But they wanted me to make it as verbatim as I could.
Oh.
Yeah. And I did that one as all turn under applique because I knew it was going to get wear and tear and it was going to have the look that they were looking for. But that one wasn't exactly my favorite because it was all these very old, prim, kind of 90s style fabrics, right? And it was just like, all right, I'm going to do this and it'll have money, but I'm like not doing what I love, right?
Yeah.
And I just would keep getting commissions like that of things that I didn't really want to do that were like, okay, yeah, it's exciting to get a new commission, but like it's probably why I'm dragging my feet on this commission that I still have to do. Well, it's almost done. It's been almost done for a couple months, but it's a lot of hand sewing. It's like a queen size quilt that's all English paper piecing and all hand sewn.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
and you
gosh.
know that I'm supposed to have surgery of my wrist. If I could ever find somebody that would actually do my surgery with my insurance,
Jeez.
yeah. But it's like nobody will. Not right now, not until I can get better insurance or something like that. So I'm just kind of at this point where I have to just do it.
Hmm.
Like the big quilt I want to
Surgery.
release in April is English paper piecing. And it's like,
Yeah.
so I did all the hand sewing for Pedal Dance, and then I need to do this commission quilt, and then I have my own quilt that is hand sewn, and like, my hand's gonna fall off at that point.
So what's the surgery for? I did not know you needed surgery.
Yeah, it's like a carpal. My doctor
Is it?
says it's not carpal tunnel, so she sent me to a specialist, but none of the specialists will see me because they won't take my insurance, and they think
Oh.
I need surgery because of whatever's going on. So it can get really painful, and like it just doing this, it's like popping, and the pain is shooting up into my fingers.
Oh.
Yeah, and when it gets really bad, like that's not bad enough because it already like hurts through my whole hand, but then it shoots into my elbow and it gets stuck there. So like
Oh.
my whole arm can just be like
Oh.
excruciating. Especially when the weather changes and I'm doing a lot of hand sewing, like forget it. Forget it.
Oh my
Like I'm
gosh.
but like what am I supposed to do? It's like my foot. Like I'm not even 40 and I feel like I'm fucking falling apart. I had to buy a cane the other day. I was so angry about it. I told you about that, right? Like,
No. What did you do?
so do you remember at Market how. Okay, so let's backtrack like 2 years. And I was trying to get in shape and get healthier, right? And my doctor at the time was like, you need to do 60 minutes of hard cardio. I'm like, okay, well, let's figure this out. All right, I can do dancing. I love to dance. I'll put on Just Dance or something and do that. And I was doing a lot of gardening too and all this other stuff. And I remember distinctly being in the garden and like having my foot and pushing on the shovel and you can feel, and it was like a crack, right? And my doctor for a year, almost a year and a half, I would say there's something wrong with my foot. And she'd be like, no, there isn't. We sent you for an x-ray. There's nothing there. I'm like, no, I literally cannot walk on my foot. It hurts. I can't No, there's nothing wrong. It took me a year and a half for her to finally send me to a specialist, for them to do a special MRI on my foot to find out that I had a hairline fracture in my foot. And by that time, yes, he was able to go
Yeah.
in. We didn't have to do surgery, and we were able to like get it to start healing and everything. But by then, the damage is done, right?
Yeah.
And arthritis is set
Yeah.
in, and it's still. So then at market, I don't know if you remember me limping around like the last day
Yeah.
or so. So
Yeah.
that I thought was related to the hairline fracture, because it's like, of course, like it's gonna act up.
Right.
Why
You're
not?
gonna
I'm the fat
aggravate
girl
it.
walking around like getting 20,000 steps a day. Of course, it's gonna damn act up. But like I remember telling Stitch, it felt like somebody took a hammer to my ankle bone and like
Yeah.
hit it. Right? And so I thought it was broken. They thought it was possibly broken. They sent me in for another MRI with the specialist. Thank God I had the specialist at this point. So he sent
Yeah.
me in because when they had done the ultrasound in the office, it looked like ice chips, like somebody had taken a pick and like gone
Right.
along my inner ankle bone. Right? This is a completely different spot. And so he sent me in to see, like, all right, it looks like it's broken. We're gonna send it in, see how deep it is, what's going on. The MRI comes back and it's not broken.
Well,
But the chips are there. And not only are the chips, so there's like this one spot in your ankle on the inner side where it's all like chipped in and like
yeah.
like almost like grind, like somebody threw the bone into like a wood chipper or something, like it's all chipped. But then it's also like they call it the gutter or something, where it's like this space around it and down, and on this downside, on this inner side, it's all chipped in there too. And then above it is like this big weird chunk. And then at the ultrasound, he'd found like calcium deposits through my muscles and stuff. And it turns out that, because like back when I was in college, I broke my ankle in 3 places. My outside ankle bone had to have a plate and screws, and my body rejected it and it was removed. The backside was fine, but apparently my inner ankle, even though it wasn't as bad as my outer, it, I guess, never fully healed. And the but like shards of bone healed in different places and everything, and that's why I had like, yeah. And he looks at me and he's like, I don't know what we're gonna do about this.
Oh no!
I'm like, you're the specialist. What do you mean you don't know what we're gonna do about this?
Oh no!
Like I told him, it's like, okay, I just had a big like convention, and this isn't gonna be my last convention. Like business is hopefully gonna keep getting better, and I'm gonna keep going to these
I need to be able
conventions.
to walk.
Yeah, and he's like, well, we could remove that bone. I'm like, well, I kind of need that bone. He's like, yeah, you're kind of using that bone right now. Like, he's like, I don't know what we're going to do long term, but for short term, we're going to, like, try and get it healed at least enough, right? So, like, he put me on vitamin D, and he gave me a topical cream and all this other stuff, and he's like, at some point, we're probably going to have to do, like, shots or something or whatever to get the pain down. I don't know. But, like, at Christmas time, we waited an hour and a half to see Santa for my youngest.
Yeah.
And we never got to see Santa. Well, he never sat on his lap. We got to the end of the line, and then he was too shy to go sit on Santa's lap. Yeah.
Oh, no.
But Mommy had to stand there for an hour and a half, not going, and just standing, like, shot my foot, and I couldn't walk, and so we went and bought a damn cane, and I was so angry. I'm like, I'm too fucking young for this cane. And I'm like, no, Sandra, you're almost 40. Maybe you're not too young for this cane.
Oh my gosh. Well, you need to get a really cool one.
I want a really cool one with like a dragon, like do it like a pimp cane, right, or something like that. Purple says that scooters are cool. We can pimp it out. I think that, yeah, but then people are gonna be like, oh, she's just a fat lady on a scooter. Like, there's nothing wrong with her. There's nothing wrong with her. Like, I've dealt with that. My mom's been disabled most of my life now, and like everybody always says, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, you motherfuckers don't know. She's got a morphine pump in her back and her whole, like, pelvis is shattered. Yeah. Like, don't tell me there's not, like, I know. She knows. Yeah. But everyone else just looks at her and like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Like,
yeah.
Don't assume. We can get you a horn, too? Okay. All right.
Get one of those
Can we just get a golf cart? I would be happy with a golf cart. We can pimp that out, and I can like yell at the kids to get off my yard, and I'll be fine. Then we go to Spree. Oh my god, we go to Spree with a golf cart or a scooter. I'd be running people over.
Well, I'll be hanging off the back.
Oh my god, the chaos that it would ensue. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You want to hear what I'm gonna do for H&H?
What do you do?
Okay. All right. So you know how and nobody here take my idea. I will kick your all butt because I'll know you took it from me. But you know how quilting clothing is like the really big thing right now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I ordered it's fake, right? But it's a leather jacket. Yeah. And I'm doing applique on the back.
Yes. That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you wait? You started to tell us about this. Did you tell us what the applique is going to be, or you didn't? You did. You did.
I might have. I don't remember.
I think you did, but I don't remember what you said it was going to be.
So, I'm a big fan of Ursula.
Yes, that's right. You did say that. Yes.
It came in the other night, and I wore it to Bug's Boy Scout meeting. And man, did I my spirit animal? Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm a sea witch with a capital B. But yeah, I felt so badass. There's just something about a leather jacket that just makes you feel like nobody's gonna fuck with you, right?
Yeah. That's cool. That's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be so fucking cool.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, with my leather boots and like my punk hair, and like no one's gonna fucking mess with me, man.
Yes, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm excited for it.
So I have bought, and I don't even know where I put it. I bought a pattern to make
more hand sewing. Shut up, Poppy. I don't want to hear it. Yeah,
but there's a quilt like that you already own, and so I've been looking at like what quilt could I take and cut up to make into, and I had a quilt that I was going to use, and I don't remember where I put it, that I was going to cut up to make into a quilted coat to wear at H&H. But I'm like, my thought was it's going to be too warm. Yeah. Like, would it be too warm to wear a quilted coat?
But I don't know if you remember, but the floor is hot, or the floor is cold. They keep it cool for everybody, yeah, because it's a lot of people. Ginger Mary made a quilt jacket, yeah, she did. And I saw recently, I think it's Quilting Elsa or Elisa or something. She does a lot of Tula Pink stuff. She just came out with a jacket that is so kick-ass. Because normally when I see quilted jackets, they're bulky and kind of funky looking. But hers looks perfect. Like, and I think she's releasing it as a pattern, and it's got like the flying geese going down the arm, and it's got I think it's got compasses on the front pockets, and it's so kick-ass. It looks so good. Like, god damn it, why do you have to be talented like that? Like, I'm so jealous right now. Like, you go, I love what you're doing, and like nobody does it like her, but like, holy shit, like she oozes talent.
Yeah, I can't design anything like that. I gotta just take something I've already got on the shelf and cut it up.
We say that about you. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. No, you know.
Yes,
not like
you
that.
Talent too.
Yeah,
like,
fuck off. That's not true.
Ursula's gonna be awesome. I'm excited to see it. So.
It'll probably look like shit. It'll probably be like the worst thing ever.
It won't. Yeah, it'll be awesome. So. No, it'll be awesome.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I just have to find time to make that on top of everything else that I'm doing and all the other things and all the
patterns you're releasing.
Well, and I'm starting to teach classes now.
What platform?
Just so a couple different ones. So this is where like I'm not making my life more complicated or anything. Right? I'm doing a workshop for Patchwork Posse in February. And that's going to be on non-hexagonal EPP, specifically around my Tipsy block that I designed. Okay. And then, so I'm doing that. And then AVT, the Academy for Virtual Teaching, has requested that I do a 2-part workshop on OBS for them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. what is OBS? Because you've talked about this a couple times. What does it stand for?
Open Broadcasting Studio. It's either Open Broadcasting Studio or Open Broadcasting Software. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you for defining the OBS. Now, what is that?
Okay, so, I am looking at this kind of like box and I have my chat. I have this big image. It has my camera feed. You kind of see it because I have the virtual camera broadcasting to Discord, so you can see the layout, right? It's reversed of what Twitch chat sees, right? But this is the part everybody sees. But the stuff behind the curtain, as it were, like I have all these notifications and chats, and then I can see my microphone audio on the bottom. I can change screens. I have like all these different things. Yeah. Studio production software for video production. Yes, that is more eloquently put than what I'm describing, but that's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That helps.
Yeah, you can. It's free. Just regular OBS is free.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Yes, that's a good thing.
What allows me to stream and does all the stuff. So, yeah.
Yes, you should share that knowledge, though. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying to share, that kind of stuff for a while, and the workshops that I'm teaching for AVT will be specifically catered to video production and not live streaming, because there's a lot more detail kind of oriented things that you can add for streaming, like alerts, for example, like when somebody subs, like Tazzy did at the beginning. Hers is like a 13-month sub and all that, and I have a notification when she subs on the Twitch channel. It sends that information across the internet and cues it right into my OBS and causes a little thing to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm starting to teach that kind of stuff.
Going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, and then on top of that, I've been accepted into the Creative Spark program.
Yes, you mentioned that before too. I don't know anything about that. So tell me what that is.
So Craftsy, you know what Craftsy is with the classes? What Craftsy is. So it's pretty much Craftsy, but it's specifically for quilting, and it's through C&T. And so it's kind of like a vetted group of people. So it isn't like Twitch where anybody can start streaming and just doing what they want. Okay. And so I'm making videos of classes, pretty much, of workshops. And so, so I'm going to be producing videos that I will edit. And I'm also designing exclusive patterns to go with those videos. Because of course I fucking am. Because I don't have enough to do and enough patterns that I'm already launching. Yeah. Yeah. I'm stupid. My New Year's resolution was to say no to things.
Well, I don't believe in resolutions, though. So.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, I'm kind of like using this as a loophole. A lot of this stuff has been in motion since the fall and earlier. So, like, how's that going for you? Shut the fuck up! Don't you throw that at my face, Oshemi. Just because I'm having meltdowns like every other day does not mean things are not okay. Things are perfectly fine. Chinese New Year's is coming up. You can change it. I don't know what I would change it to. Normally I don't do resolutions. It was just one of those things where I really should start saying no, and I always say it's okay to say no. It's smart to say no. It's more important of like what you say no to than what you say yes to, right? But like then when I sat down and really thought about the things that I said no to last year, I didn't really say no to anything last year.
Yeah. No. I'm like, is it really saying no? It's just saying yes to the right things. That's really.
Yeah, but have I not said yes to anything yet? Right? Like, I mean, I suppose, like, I'm doing the things that I want, right? I'm reaching for the things that I want to do. And, with business, and especially our industry, like, diversifying your income and all that other stuff is, like, so important.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can't just make patterns and make a living. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely. It's not going to work. You're
No.
not going to be, if again, going back to are you going to make money? No. And the whole conversation I was having with my husband, writing patterns, I'm never going to make money. So
it's all the things that come with the patterns, right?
Yep.
It's the
Gotta be more.
affiliate links, it's the teaching opportunities, it's
Yep.
the lectures, it's all of those extra
Yep.
things.
All the other things that go with it. So there's got to be more. So yeah. Yep. You've got to do more. It can't just be the pattern.
I mean, it could be if you're just doing it for fun or just doing it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are people who do make money from patterns alone, right? Like, those are usually the people who have done it long enough that they're doing everything in house, right?
Yeah. I bet they're not just doing patterns, though. I doubt they're doing just patterns.
You're probably not wrong. Like, one of my key examples that I keep looking at as, like, kind of like a benchmark of, like, where I could be at some point someday is McKenna Ryan, right? Because for me, I know a lot of pattern designers, all they have to worry about as far as printing cost is their booklet, right? And the more booklets you order, the less it costs you. For me, sure, the booklet part, that's how it works, but for me, for the inserts, it doesn't matter how many I order. It's always going to stay the same price, right? Yeah. So that I can't decrease that price unless somehow I can afford a printer and do all of that myself, right? Yeah. But like, I already feel like I'm doing too much, and I know that I'm kind of hitting my limit at my wall. Like, I've been reaching out to video editors and stuff like that because I know that I have to delegate and have to kind of share my load a little bit. Yeah. And again, that's part of creating a business to run and not just creating a job for myself, right?
Right. And that's the key is like, don't create work, create the business. Yeah. So, yeah, because you've got to create things that can run themselves too. So, yeah.
Well, and things that are easily repeatable, right? Yeah. Like documenting how, and I really need to be better about it because right now, like, if I got sick and Luke had a big order that came in, he wouldn't know the first thing of what to do or where to go or how to do any of that. Like, none of that information is written down, right? Yeah. So, like, I need to have that in a document somewhere.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it's like a system of operations, right? An SOP.
Right. Yeah.
God, business.
But yeah, at least you're there. So at least
I'm not there. I haven't been there, but it's like honestly, I had a business plan last year. Like, I went through all of that and did all that exercise to help me with like the tone and the voice, and I still struggle with that. Like, you see Instagrams that are so beautifully curated and everything relates, and like you can just see the color harmony, right? And it's like a very beautiful thing to just look at their feed and like everything kind of harmonized. Some kind of just get washed out, right? Because there's just not enough variety. But like, but for mine, when I look at mine, it's just all over the place. Especially like, I can't decide, and I have like, all right, the typeface I'm going to use is Railway and all this other. But do you think I stay consistent with my social media stuff? No. I'm using whatever typeface looks good at the time. But, like, I need to start honing in on that, right?
Yeah, I agree. And those are things that I just need to probably, and you mentioned, like, typeface. That's probably a good idea. Like, I probably need to figure that out because I haven't even thought about that. I haven't even thought about, like, what font should I be using.
Well, and that was one of the exercises when I did my business plan is, like, it specifically is like, all right, what is your typeface and what is your secondary typeface, right? And, like, what does that look like? And what kind of icons are you going to use? Are you going to use really colorful or what? And I like using just the outlines, right? You kind of see it in, like, the pattern stuff on the bottom, right? Those are the kind of icons I use. I like the outlines. They're clean, they're crisp, right? So, like, you kind of start thinking about that and, like, your tone, for example. Like, how do you want to write your blogs and your emails and all that, Like, are you coming from a
Yeah.
place of authority? Are you coming from a place of casual? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Those are good questions to ask. I haven't even gotten consistent enough to start asking those questions.
well,
I
even
haven't
when
read
you do, it's a matter of like remembering and just staying. Honestly, TJ's got that down to a fucking T. Like, at the
Yeah.
bottom of, you know how she made all, because again, guys, in case you
Yeah.
didn't know,
All
Sprout
the
is a
assets.
huge team effort. Like, we have 11 of us, and we all pitched in and did a lot of this, right? So TJ and Joe did all the assets that you guys are seeing. Well, not all of them, but like the majority of the assets that you see on Instagram for the Sprout. And at the bottom of her Canva, after 84 assets,
I know.
right? But she has a card that has the different typefaces and then a color key of the main colors, right?
Yeah.
And the logo. Like, that's something that I should be doing. I should have that as an image in my Canva so I can just automatically upload that.
For everyone. Yeah, that's a great idea. You should. That is a
Well, that's what
fantastic.
I actually started writing down today before stream was like, all right, I'm launching this next pattern and I want this to be a successful pattern launch. How am I going to do this runway and how am I going to make everything consistent and start really getting on top of my branding?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm selling myself. I'm not a hooker
Yeah.
on the corner selling myself for WoW tokens, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and even like the other thing that I started working on, which is kind of in a similar vein, but not really, is even just being able to write patterns consistently. Like I have started working on a library of parts, like pattern parts,
that is
like
so
a library
smart.
block pieces, and you know,
I
just
need
so
to do
that
that.
writing a pattern, I have the same pieces that I'm using consistently
See, I
throughout
need to
my.
do that. I really see that's more than what I have cuz right now like I I just upload the last pattern that I did and just steal those pages and those elements. Like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, I need an
Well, this
English
is what
paper
I've been
feasting thing. I'm
doing.
gonna steal
Yeah.
the instructions from Bees and Peonies because I already have that written out. Oh, I'm doing raw edge applique. Oh, I'm doing turn edge. Let me go get this pattern and open it. I just need to make like template parent templates.
Yeah. And that's how I've done it for the patterns that I've been writing, is I've been stealing the last pattern I wrote, and then I have to recolor everything and I have to rewrite it. And I'm like, okay, let's just make a library of
Yeah,
all of the parts, because that way, and going back to, like I said, I have a pattern out there and it's all colored for a fabric that it sounds like I'm not going to be able to get.
you're gonna
So,
check on Etsy.
well, I can check on Etsy and hopefully not pay an arm and a leg for it. But if I don't get it, then I'm going to have to recolor all those parts. Well, what if I just have them colored in some static color that
Yeah.
is, not for that cover quilt? And I just pull them in and I could just then drop in
That's
whatever
what I do for my
fabric I want.
binding instructions and my hanging sleeve instructions. Like I have them in neutral grays and I have like a teal blue or something for like a distinct color. And
Yeah.
otherwise, because that way it's clean and crisp and I can reuse it and it's consistent.
Yeah. And that's what I'm building these in, is like a very static color, very basic color.
Yeah.
So, and then if I want to color it in whatever fabrics I've downloaded, I could, but I don't have to. And then I can reuse them over and over and over again. So, but I just started doing that a couple weeks ago. I thought, it would be good to have these, especially like this black that we have here has a lot of little pieces and parts. So
Mm-hmm.
be nice. I've got these, so let's build these. So
Yeah.
I pulled
You got
these
a
out.
whole library in front of you right there.
Yeah. So yeah. So I started building that, but I need to do it for other pieces of my business too now. So you just brought up a whole bunch of other points that
And it gets
never,
overwhelming. Like, I have a list of things that I need to add to my website, like that footer with the privacy policy and all that kind of stuff.
I know. Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to
And it's one of those things where I can't overwhelm myself with all of it at once. I just take a little chunk at a time. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to add an about me page that's actually about me. All right, I'm going to add that this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think one of the best things that I did was getting Flowdesk, to be honest, between you and me, and making workflows.
Yeah, I have Flowdesk, and I do have a couple workflows that are working really well, but I forget how to do it. Like, and again, it's one of those, I have a couple things
I've had
that
so much practice with Sprout.
I need to
It's been
ask
so
you
much.
now. Because I need, well, and like every time I do it, I'm like, okay, how did I do this again? Because it's one of those things that it's not real intuitive. So I can never remember exactly how I set it up. And I'm like, all right, crap, how do I do this? And I have to, I need to change I've got a lead magnet, whatever, on there on the site, and it's linked to Flowdesk. And I'm like, okay, I want to change it. How do I do that?
Right?
So I got to figure it.
That was my biggest hurdle when I first got Flowdesk, because I moved over from MailChimp to that, was like, okay, what am I going to do about this opt-in? Because, like, MailChimp was pretty easy to set up. Yeah. But, like, as soon as you really kind of remember and figure it out, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I have a document somewhere that has my steps to do it. I just have to go find the document that has my steps to do it.
It's just like with what we did, right? You just make a landing page or a pop-up, and then you have a workflow attached to it that delivers your freebie.
Yeah. I just have to go find the document where I wrote on my steps. So
yeah,
go fix it. So yeah.
We definitely moved from like fabric and quilting to like small business expo kind of stuff, which I love.
Sorry,
honestly,
we skipped over all the fabric. We didn't want to talk about fabric.
Honestly, I'm okay with that, because I don't know about you, but a lot of this kind of stuff is, I don't want to say gatekeeped, but it's not really talked about, especially not publicly. Like, you pay for webinars and classes and all that kind of shit for this stuff, right? Like, if there's something that you can even just glean a little bit.
Like,
yeah.
And it's not easy. Like, I Googled this stuff, and I had to, like, watch YouTube videos on how to do this. Originally, that's how I had to figure that Flowdesk thing out. Although I will say, Joe, and I don't know if Joe's on here because I don't see who else on here, but if Joe's here, she actually wrote it up originally. So, and then I had to figure out how to hook it. I have WordPress as my website.
Yeah.
So she wrote up the Flowdesk. So I have the Flowdesk thing from Joe, and then to hook it to WordPress, I had to go Google and watch some videos. So then I added to Joe's document how to hook it to WordPress. So, like, but it's not easy to do. Like,
no. It's so much more typical. And Shikamaru in the chat, he's like, honestly, I can't believe how much you guys have to do on top of being created. I could not imagine.
It's not fun. This is the stuff that's not fun.
This is the bookkeeping and no. But it's one of those things you kind of have to, it's like part and parcel, right? The whole genie gig, you know, infinite power and tiny itty bitty living space. Right? That's what the joy of quilting is in running a business.
Yeah. Yep. It's the not fun part of it.
But it's one of those things I think I'm coming to terms with and accepting and trying to find enjoyment in something. Right? Because if I don't find some sort of enjoyment or something out of it, then it becomes such a chore and tedious that I won't do it, and that hurts me in the long run. Which in turn hurts my family. Yeah. Right? And I don't want to do that. So, like, for me, kind of just finding the numbers, right? Like, I've really learned to kind of lean back into, like, the numbers and the analytics and kind of figuring out, okay, what works, right?
Yeah. I get super excited when I get it to work. Like, that's like yay me, you know? I get, like, super thrilled when it actually, I want like everybody to go do it. Like, I'm calling my daughter and my sister-in-law and like everybody, go check it out, go see if you can make it work, you know, like, because I'm so excited that my husband's doing it on his phone and his computer and his tablet and like every device to prove that it works, you know, because I'm so thrilled that I actually got it to work.
Well, I'm so worried that I screwed something up. So it's like I have to go through the procedure and just make sure that it's not gonna bonk somewhere, because like if I can't get it to work or like Oshemi can't get it to work on his side, then like
Yeah.
The little old lady who's 70 in Wisconsin is going to have a hard time too. And I don't want that. I want it to be easy for them. Are we still dropping frames, guys? I see you guys in chat talking about dropping frames. Let me take a look. I know that, Twitch servers were having a hard time earlier today. And when I say Twitch, Amazon, because Amazon owns. Seems like it's all good now? Okay. We also were having internet issues today, because I think that internet issue that, like, killed us last year is back. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Like, we'll randomly get drops where, because our upload speed is supposed to be, like, a certain amount, but then it'll drop to, like, 0.5 or something. And you can't do that for streaming. You have to have a stable upload. It's stabilized here, but I have about 45-second delay now. Wow! Try refreshing. Try refreshing. And then after you refresh, let me know, and I can do a test. We are past the 2-hour mark, so that might be just the universe telling us that it's time to let Meg go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm a little tired.
It's midnight there. You're, like, super late.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But thank you so much for being here. Now, this is the fun part that none of us like to do, but you're going to have to do it anyway. So I want you to get all sell-outy and tell everybody where they can find you. Like platforms, websites, what is the next thing that you have coming that you want to hype up? Like, give us all the information.
All right. Well, it's pretty simple right now. So I'm pretty much only on Instagram at So Simply Meg, and my website is sosiemplymeg.com. So those are pretty easy. And I have, I think I mentioned 3 quilts that I'm trying to get launched here in the next 6 months. So I have actually this thing that I'm calling Making a Day. So I mentioned earlier that I really like beginner friendly.
Yeah.
So I had a Making a Day quilt pattern that is actually my freebie right now on my website if you sign up for my newsletter.
Oh, I've seen that quilt. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a super simple quilt. It's actually it's available to buy too if you're already on my newsletter and you don't get the pop-up, or you get the pop-up and it says, "Oh, sorry, you're already on my list," or whatever. But it's available for $5. You can buy it. It's just a basic quilt. So it's super simple, but I have a new Making a Day coming, and that's the one that I'm looking for water for. So this is like this. I call it super simple, but it's not that simple, but it is simple. And it's super easy for beginners. And I say you can make it in a day.
So you heard it here first. It's So Simply from So Simply Meg. Not so simple, but very simple. I did drop the link in the channel, guys, for you guys to go check out her website. And yeah, I'm so happy that you came on stream again. And when you launch your next quilt, I hope that you think about maybe coming on and sharing that with us. And maybe we could do a sew day. I like doing sew days.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
I'd love to. So yeah, that's on my docket for March. I'm gonna release that. So.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. And then maybe you'll have your like quilted jacket done, and we can kind of sneak peek that one too.
We'll see, I don't know. So I'm fast with jackets. So
neither am I.
Yeah, we'll see. My goal is H&H, so it might be like the end of April by this. I might be sewing that on the drive. Well, I'm driving, but yeah, I might be sewing that as I'm walking into the.
Yeah, I'm flying this time. There's no way I'm doing a 37-hour drive. Thank you very much. Like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, no. So.
Well, thank you, Megan, so much for coming and being on the stream and sharing your inspirations and your nerdiness and all that good stuff. It's really been a pleasure. And Poppy says goodnight, and everybody's giving all their love. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
so much for having me. It was great being here.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, dear. And that, my friends, was Meg. She is a beautiful person, fabulous. Her website is in the channel, sosiemplymeg.com. She is a lovely soul, and I did not realize she was a fellow nerd, and that just makes me even happier. So, like, that's the thing. Like, we never know what is behind the curtain, right? So, thank you so much. We'll do one last Selly Outy thing, because Shikamaru has been best mod tonight, putting up all the commands and all that. But I will remind you guys that I am a HelloFresh partner for the month. We've got about 14 days roughly still. And so if you guys are interested in getting some HelloFresh and not having to cook that much and kind of being able to sew, my family likes it, and maybe you will too. Give it a check, see how you like it. Let me know, right? Let me know what meals you pick, because I'm really partial to the couscous. To be honest, I never tried couscous before HelloFresh, and there's some really good recipes. So, anyway, guys, we will actually be back Friday. This was an unusual Wednesday stream because we had our interview, but we'll be back on Friday. And Friday, we will be working on our stream quilt that we talked about, our Eevee king size quilt. I think we've got our template. We actually made our template. And then we will be actually starting to get our drawings for January done. So I'm really excited for that. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for being here. You're fantastic. Best crew is Quilty Crew. I'll say it forever. Night, guys.